Welcome in, everybody. How are you doing? Welcome in, welcome in. Hi, my name is Yasmin Shiraz, and today we are talking about the Bill Cosby verdict. We are talking about the fact that Bill Cosby, TV executive producer, writer, comedian, opener of many doors for many, many people, has been basically ordered to pay one of his victims $59.25 million. So, welcome in, everybody. Welcome in today. I'm going to sign into the chat if it lets me do that, so that I can be able to get in here with you. And so that's what's going on. If you are new here, my name is Yasmin, and I am a journalist, TV writer, TV producer, and this is something that really touches me on so many levels. Um, a jury found Bill Cosby liable yesterday for drugging and sexually assaulting a woman named Donna Motsinger. And this happened in 1972, over 50 years ago. And so this is just a very interesting, um, you know, it is a very interesting, concept, a very interesting situation that has happened. And so I want to share with you all just some of the things about this case today. And then I want to go into the legacy. I want the Yasmin breakdown, especially our lives, to be this really safe space where we're able to talk about the things that are, that we're troubling, that we struggle with, that are troubling us. And I think for Bill Cosby, since this case opened and the one from 2004, black people, and gosh, specifically black creatives, screenwriters, comedians, actors, producers, directors, we have been carrying a quiet grief. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to think about it. And we've just been carrying this grief around. And I'm someone who believes, you got to set grief free. And so today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to set some grief free today. So let me give you the basics to start off. The verdict yesterday, a U.S. jury found Bill Cosby liable for drugging and sexually assaulting Donna Motsinger in 1972, awarding her $59.25 million total. Now, it's important for us to recognize and realize that this is a civil trial and not a criminal one. I say that because people have to understand always, that the bar in a civil trial is lower than the bar in a criminal trial. Meaning that if the state or the federal government are going to send you to prison, they have to check more boxes. The proof has to be there. You know what I mean? It can't just be probably. Okay, probably is what works oftentimes in civil cases. And so I want you all to 1000% understand this is in fact a civil trial and not a criminal one. Okay, that's one. So this 59.25 million, like, why so much? What has happened? That includes 40 million in punitive damages. Okay, 40 million in punitive damages, plus past and future non-economic damages. Okay, now that is stemming from a 2023 lawsuit filed in Los Angeles County Superior Court in Santa Monica. if you are like me and you have been following celebrity cases of, I just did a video on the Michael Jackson case. They're, suing his estate. Um, there are lots of things that people will sue you for, and the stuff simply adds up. So his judgment, $59.25 million. Now, let's go into the plaintiff's story. And before I go, let's go into the plaintiff's story. But before I do that, I am going to try to sign in to chat. Let me just see if I can sign in the chat really quickly. And if signing in the chat will allow me to pin a comment, I'm just going to try to do that really quickly, if that's at all possible. What's up, everybody? Welcome in, welcome in. You have reached the Yasmin breakdown, and I am trying to do a comment and see if it'll allow me to do it. Oh wait, it will. Okay, so let me just see if this comment that I had, boom, it's too many. Okay, all right, it's too many. So let's just, let me see if I can, okay. It's so long, my comment is so long that it's like, it's too long, girlfriend. You know. So let me just do this really fast. So what I want to do is I just wanted to connect with you guys. There we go. Your girl Yasmin is figuring this out. Let's see if it'll let me do it. Yes, you guys. So, yes, welcome to the space, everybody. Welcome to the space. I am trying to do a pin comment so you can let me know you are here. Let me know that you are here watching. Thank you. Bam. There we go. All right. Let me pin this comment. All right. Bam. Okay. So now the comment is pinned. All right, you guys. Sorry for that disruption. I just wanted to try to pin a comment for you guys, and I'll go back to see if you have any comments in the chat. So let's go into the plaintiff's story. The plaintiff's story is that Matzinger alleged that the incident happened when she was working as a server at Sausalito restaurant. So she was a waitress, right? And Cosby's attorneys said he did not remember any sexual contact with her, but if any occurred, it was consensual. That was in fact reported, you guys, from Fox 11 Los Angeles. Again, I'm here to report, what has happened and to help us break down how we feel about it, right? But I will say, I followed the Diddy case. Diddy is someone who I work with as an entertainment journalist, as a magazine publisher. I work with Bad Boy Entertainment. As a woman, it absolutely horrifies me that there are people out here who feel they need to drug women. That for me horrifies me on so many levels. It's like, what is that about? And that's something that I guess I would need to interview people who do that to be able to understand what the thrill is for them to do it. Because it's just like, I thought a part of the chase was in fact being able to get this person on your side. If you're drugging people, you've taken away the chase, in my opinion. I don't know. Call me crazy. If you guys have a comment on that, please put it in the chat. Key disposition detail, you guys. Matzinger's lawyer played a deposition in which Cosby admitted that he had obtained recreational prescriptions for Quaaludes from a gynecologist at a poker game and planned to use the pills to give to women in the hopes of having sex with them. This was reported by TMZ, and this has apparently happened inside the courtroom. And so, again, I don't know the mindset of a person who wants to use drugs to, in trying to get to know somebody. I don't know people like that. I don't think that I know people like that. I'm sure they won't reveal themselves to me now, but that seems like a weird flex. I'm gonna put that in there, you guys. That's my little bomb sound when I'm like, I don't like that. And so the next thing, his attorney, Jennifer Bonjean, told reporters she was disappointed and the case will be appealed. Of course she's disappointed. Why wouldn't she be disappointed? You're the attorney for Bill Cosby. Again, the thing for me that is, disturbing on a social level, on a societal level, in terms of the cult of celebrity as well, are a couple of things. You have people who are so in love with celebrities. They're obsessed with celebrities. I did a video about Rihanna's house being shot up, and I talked about Eminem writing the Stand song. You have these parasocial relationships, and people let their guard down around celebrities. Who's to say the celebrity isn't a stalker, isn't a criminal, isn't a perpetrator, isn't a, someone who would hurt you? If you guys followed, the Diddy case, and those things that happened and some of the things that people said about Diddy, good, bad, or otherwise, to me, it was troubling that because someone has money, because they are famous, because they are a celebrity, we automatically let down our guard. Why are we so willing to let down our guard because somebody is a celebrity? That is something that we 110%, that's something that we 100% need to address as well, right? Why are we so willing to let down our guard for people who are celebrities? Okay, we're willing to, get on the tour bus. We're willing to go in the trailer at night. We're willing to, accept drinks from people we don't know. And I am not trying to blame the victim as much as I am saying, people, you don't know these people. You don't know who they got tied up in their basement. And I'm not saying that jokingly. I'm saying that dead serious. You don't know who they got tied up in the basement. Period. You don't know what they're doing. So to go on with let's get into the financial picture, because I am a sociologist by trade. I have both of my degrees in sociology with an emphasis in criminology, and I have found whenever celebrities are involved, you have to 1000% follow the money. And what is the money involved? We know 59.25 million, but I don't know how many of you understand that the Cosby Show syndication was absolutely insane. Okay, when I say that, I'm talking about the Cosby Show. I'm going to go ahead and put it up here. I'm going to put it up here for you guys. The Cosby Show was 100, and I mean, people love seeing it, right? People love seeing it. And how do I have Little Bill? Somehow kind of way I have Little Bill up here, and that's not what I want. What in the world did I do, you guys? I am sitting here. I had all these things organized for you all, and now I don't know what I did. But the Cosby Show is what we're talking about right now. And let me see something. Okay, let me see something, you guys. Yes, I'm just going to have to add that. Up. But the Cosby Show, of which Malcolm Jamal Warner was a star, Lisa Bonet was a star, that had generated over 1.5 billion, you guys, in syndication. So now we have been hearing, due to, the news and everything, that he's on a downward spiral. That's what has been reported. And why is it on a downward spiral? Legal fees. Listen. There might be some unemployed lawyers out there, but for the ones who aren't unemployed, they can make some money. And he's paying a lot of money apparently and allegedly for legal fees. He had a 2025 mortgage default on his New York townhouse, okay? Now, he still draws residuals from the Cosby show, but it had generated over 1.5 billion in syndication. And for anyone out here who like, hey, you're not news savvy so much or what have you, or entertainment business savvy, is when you are popular, everybody wants to buy what you have. When you are popular, everybody wants to buy what you have. So before your court cases, before your judgments, before criminal accusations, and you're a television star, you're making lots of money in syndication. Those are your checks. So you did the work 30 years ago, you still getting paid. But when people start to paint a different picture of you, when they start to say you're a criminal, you're, all these different things, now all of a sudden your residual checks become less because people now don't want to put your show in syndication. This is a very important this is a very important very important fact and distinction, because a lot of people do not understand that it can affect your money, even your old money. Like, people don't understand, but it absolutely does impact your money. Okay, so I just wanted to share that. I wanted to share that with you guys. And then look at this. I know your girl is slow today, but I'm trying. I'm working this thing as best I can, you guys. But I want to show you. This is the Cosby show that we're talking about. And so many people grew up watching the Cosby show and connecting to it and this kinds of things. And so right here at the top, that was Theo Huxtable. Okay, that's Lisa Bonet right there. Okay, Vanessa right here, Rudy Huxtable, Claire. Why can't I remember? Why am I not remembering? Because I always call her Lisa Bonet. See, that's what's going on. Denise Huxtable was her name. And so this show did so much for us as people, right? You had a black doctor married to a black lawyer. And for many people, black Americans, we had not seen that. Now, I went to Hampton University, and let me tell you, there were plenty of people's moms, a doctor, dad's a lawyer. There's all sorts of black folks owning homes already, on Martha's Vineyard. But, but before being in that concentrated environment, I did not see that. Okay, so this was really a blessing. This show was really a blessing. And so when we mourn and grieve what we believed Bill Cosby to be, this is a big part of the loss. Okay, this is a big part of the loss. And so I just wanted to give you those kinds of that information or what have you. And then I want to talk about his legacy. And I'm starting here because I have the Cosby show up, but maybe I should go back and let me see let me see if I can get something else up for you guys today. Let me see if I can make it happen. Wait a minute. Your girl Yasmin Shiraz might mess around. I might mess around and make something happen for you guys today. I might mess around, but I want to talk to you guys about this right here. And for my, animators out there, my creators, my writers, for people like you out here, a long, long time ago, there was a TV show called Fat Albert. Man, this was back in the day. Okay. And it had, some funny people. One of the guys, he couldn't hardly talk. Obviously you had Fat Albert, and it was called Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. And this was a show that really, it was funny, and it was something, I want to say it came on Saturday mornings. I can't remember, but I think that's when it came on. But for people who don't understand this, and if you have any non-black people watching, is that this was a show that helped us black people see themselves, even though it was a cartoon, right? And so even if you didn't like Fat Albert, you knew he was coming on Saturday. You feel where I'm coming from? Even if you didn't like him, you knew that, oh, okay, this is this is something some black guy done came up with this Fat Albert. You know what I mean? And so a lot of times, why we are grieving Bill Cosby, good, bad, or otherwise, is because of so much of his creation, especially people who are Gen X. Gen X and maybe like a little bit younger than that, people who watch the Cosby Show, it is hard to separate something that you feel is good, and then you go and you find out or you learn some things that are disturbing, and you're just like, your mind almost can't reconcile it, right? Your mind almost can't reconcile why you feel how you feel. Like, wait, this made me feel so good about being black. How can this person be doing these things, And so that's the heartbreak, and that's the heartache. And so I want to talk a little bit about, so that was Fat Albert, right? And then, as I shared with you, we talked a little bit about the Cosby Show as well. And the Cosby Show, guys, was, for people who don't know, if I have any young watchers who will watch this, it's just like, again, if you were a black person during that time, it gave you something that wasn't sort of this thug life, or it wasn't this drug, whatever. It wasn't violence. It wasn't street. And again, I have friends who are writers who write in every genre. And so I am not taking anything from street fiction or any kind of stuff. But what I want to center in this conversation is, again, Bill Cosby is so responsible for giving us something else that black people could feel good about, right? And Felicia Rashad, who played Claire Huxtable, not only was and is, she still is a beautiful, beautiful woman. Graduated from Howard University, Debbie Allen's big sister. She was beautiful. She was articulate. And so she gave you, and she always had a grace when she was on screen, right? She had a grace about her. And so when you think Bill Cosby created this show, and then writers who came into the show, I believe Gina Prince-Bythewood, one of my favorite directors and writers, she wrote Love and Basketball, which I love so much. She came through, as I understand, the Cosby program as well. And so this entity, the Cosby Show, it did more than just be a vehicle for Bill Cosby, right? And so today we're talking about this verdict and him being ordered to pay $59.25 million because he was found liable of drugging this woman and having sex with her without consent. But I want to also help us to continue to process our grief so that we can set it free. And the Cosby Show was just one of those pivotal things where it gave black people a way to see themselves in a positive light. We knew Bill Cosby. We knew he was a comedian, and things like that. We knew he was the creator of Fat Albert, but like that supporting cast, right? Keisha Knight Pulliam, who's Rudy, right? Who played Rudy. He gave us her, right? He gave us Lisa Bonet. We know we just mourn the loss of Malcolm Jamal Warner, who died by drowning last year. I remember doing a live and people were absolutely heartbroken. He gave us Theo Huxtable, aka Malcolm Jamal Warner. And so, again, where our challenge is and why we struggle is because when something has been such a good thing to you, it almost plants itself into your spirit. And then when you hear of these negative things, your brain is like, wait, can this really be possible? And it's almost like the left brain and the right brain are fighting. They are fighting because they don't want to believe that both of these things can be true. This person could have given us so much, but like maybe these convictions or these, maybe these things happened. And what I'm trying to say to us is that, hey, we can process our grief. We can keep the good for what we use the good for, and we can still move on, because it is I know it's certainly painful. It's certainly painful for me. Another thing that I wanted to share with you guys, and again, I'm new on my setup when I'm getting everything up. So let me see if I can do this. And Bill Cosby, one last thing, as a Black father, he showed and portrayed on the Cosby Show such a positive Black father. And a lot of people who were growing up in single parent households, they didn't see that. And so, I remember a time where they were calling him America's dad, because of the relationship that he showed with all of the kids, Vanessa as well, who, she was awesome as well. But like, he was America's dad in many, many ways, particularly, I would say, in the Black community. Another image in talking about his legacy today that I want to share with you guys. And you have to, let me get out of the image. You had to be there. Okay, people, you had to be there. But what I wanted to say about this is this here. He had this commercial, and I never ate Jello pudding pops, and this was a commercial for Jello pudding pops, okay? And he had these Jello. He was a spokesperson, if you will, for Jello pudding pops, okay? And so he would come on and he'd be like, these Jello pudding pops are so good or whatever. And it was, again, I'm trying to think of somebody currently who has that type of endorsement. I would say right now, the person who has that closest endorsement would almost be Ben Affleck and Dunkin' Donuts, where you have a celebrity who's a known celebrity, and then you create a relationship with them that year after year after year, you see them in your commercials, right? And that they're a star, they're doing television, they're doing film, whatever it is that they're doing, but you're connecting to them because of, whatever, and people see it. And so the Jello pudding pops commercial, it had this very fun, almost America Dad-ish type of thing. Like, hey, I think that says the only dessert that you can say yes to. So again, as a father, he's recommending a good dessert for the family or whatever. But this was a very popular series that he did, the Jello pudding pops. And again, if you are going to look at this similar to something, I would say that Ben Affleck and his I would say that would be the thing. Ben Affleck, Ben Affleck and his situation. I would say that would be the closest thing. Now, this is another thing, and I don't care what nobody says, but this is another thing that makes this hard. And I hope you guys can see on screen right now. And I'm going to just move him up a little bit. But Little Bill, okay? Why we grieve so hard for Bill Cosby, Little Bill. I remember my kids were little when Little Bill came onto the scene. And I remember, like, he had a lisp. He had his tooth missing. I remember buying Little Bill books. And again, how does your mind reconcile something as pure, as kind-hearted, as genuine as Little Bill coming from someone, and we've heard these accusations or things like that. So that is a part of why we struggle, why we grieve with it. But Little Bill, again, just this little kid, going through the challenges, talking to his family, making friends. Little Bill is one of the greatest casualties of this whole stuff with Bill Cosby. Why do I say that? I say it because we no longer see Little Bill. And the lessons that Little Bill had to show us, numerous. As an author myself, I just loved Little Bill. I just loved him. But I also understood that as a result of what has happened, we could no longer support Little Bill. All right, guys, another thing that I just wanted to, as this, again, on the Little Bill front, I wanted to share this with you guys. And again, one of the things that Bill Cosby did really well was that black male role model piece. So when you have black friends and you're like, why are they struggling with Bill Cosby? This is why. Because for us, a lot of it is hard for us to, it's hard for us to process. All right. So guys, I hope people are getting in here and watching today. I wanted to just share some of the things about Bill Cosby, the verdict, and his legacy. And so I've gone through now a few things on his legacy. We've talked about the Cosby Show. We've talked about Fat Albert. We talked about Little Bill. And we talked about the Jello pudding pops. And so we have covered quite a bit today. And I just wanted, like I said, to be able to be a space for you guys today to talk about what has happened. And I just want, to leave on this note. I will never, like victims, I understand. I've worked with battered women, rape victims. I've worked with victims all throughout my life and career. So I do understand this. This video was more about understanding what the verdict was and to help people process why they struggle, knowing his legacy is what it has been and what he has given in terms of imagery and opportunity to the Black community. So this case that I talked to you about today, where he was ordered to pay $59.25 million, it was a Southern California civil jury case, okay? And like I told you, it happened on Monday, okay? And again, this was a civil case and not a criminal one. And so I wanted to say, there was one last thing that I wanted to share with you, is that about what this woman said about this situation. This is what, according to the lawsuit, and I'm getting this from NBC News, I want to cite the source. According to the lawsuit, Motsinger said she met Cosby at the Sausalito restaurant where she worked. I shared that with you guys. He followed her home, the suit alleges, and asked her to attend one of his stand-up acts at a theater south of San Francisco. After giving Motsinger a ride to Circle Star Theater in a limo and providing a glass of wine, this is what the suit alleges, she began to feel sick, and Cosby gave her what she believed was an aspirin. Next thing she knew, she was going in and out of consciousness while two men attending to Mr. Cosby were putting her in the limousine with Mr. Cosby. The suit continues. She awoke at her home with all of her clothes off except her underwear. This is according to the suit. And here's a quote. She knew she had been drugged and raped by Bill Cosby, the suit alleges. And I just want to, as we wrap up today, this is the thing that I want to make sure that I say. That just because somebody is a celebrity, you should not necessarily get in a car because they want you to get in a car. You should not accept a drink that you haven't seen them pour or whatever. You shouldn't accept, medicine, medication, whatever, from a person just because they're a celebrity. And I'm saying this as a celebrity, but I'm talking about regular people also. Okay, obviously this is a celebrity case, but I want to say that to men and women out here, because men are getting roofied as well. Men are in fact getting roofied as well. Be okay with saying no. No, I'm not getting in your car. No, I'm not. No, I don't drink. Or no, I'm not drinking right now. No, I have a sensitive stomach. Whatever you have to say, it gives me headaches. I don't care what you got to make up. Okay? Let me say this clearly. You do not need to receive everything that somebody's trying to give you. Okay? Okay, now, just to give some context to this whole story, dozens of women have publicly accused Cosby of sexual misconduct, including a college sports administrator in Pennsylvania, who said he drugged and raped her in 2004. Now, on the criminal side, Cosby was convicted of 3 felony counts of aggravated indecent assault in connection with the Pennsylvania allegations in 2018. Okay, but this is where it gets interesting. The case was overturned in 2021 after the state Supreme Court found that he was denied protection against self-incrimination. Now he still has more lawsuits, so I want to make sure that I've delivered on the promise where I wanted to give you guys some really good information on what's going on. There have been lawsuits filed by several women in Nevada 3 years ago accusing Cosby of sexual assault, and they remain pending. Now, I have to say, Cosby has consistently denied all allegations of sexual abuse. Okay, so everybody who has accused him and who has said, hey, he's done X, Y, and Z, they are in fact saying, well, he is in fact saying, well, no, I am not guilty. I did not do these things. And so, you guys, thank you so much. I don't have a live schedule. I try to pop on when there's a breaking news story. And I remember when these cases came out about Cosby, the criminal case, it was very hard in my community, not only as a Black woman, but as a Black writer, director, producer. It was very hard. I mean, you couldn't talk to Black creatives about it. And I really wanted to, have the conversation so that we can process our grief. And so today was my attempt to do that in a different way on my YouTube channel. So, you guys, if you're watching, thank you so much. Please turn on your notifications, subscribe, and remember, support independent media. And watch the next breakdown on this channel, because we get into what is going on, what is the sociological, focus, and what do we take, and also, you guys, some homework for you all. What do you take from this, right? What do you take from this? Celebrities, they're not going to get away with this stuff. Like, if you're doing stuff, count on somebody to come back. Like, you can't do these things. These things are hurtful. These things are criminal. So I don't know. You let me know how you feel. That is certainly one to grow on, and I will see you next time. Peace.